Hello, all you scaredy cats and kittens, and welcome to the Two Scaredy Cats podcast, where we talk about all things strange, unusual, and paranormal. We're your hostess with the mostest. I'm Stacy.
And I'm Kara.
So, Kara, it's been a hot minute since we've been able to get together to produce one of these episodes of ours. Last week we were unable to do one because I was in the Smoky Mountains having a vacation, and Kara was... Where were you, Kara?
I was in Washington, D.C. for an anime convention.
That sounds like fun. Did anything interesting happen?
It was fun at the actual convention. If people who haven't been to Washington, D.C., it is a PvP-enabled zone. There's a lot of insanity that goes on. Like, even, in the heart of the city, we just saw so many crazy people doing crazy stuff. We saw a fist fight.
Oh, no. That is nuts.
And just, people being very weird.
I feel like people that live in D.C. are, totally unhinged because of, just all the stuff that goes on there.
They're like, oh, this is normal. This is a normal Thursday. There's people getting fights. There's ambulances everywhere.
Wow. Meanwhile, our trip was more quaint and quiet, although we did see these really cool family of bears that apparently where we were staying, we were so high up, we were next to Obergatlinburg. In fact, Obergatlinburg, the mountain roller coaster that they have up there ran behind our place, and you can see it, it was lit up at night, and you could cool. And you could hear people going through and stuff like that. But there was a sign up where we were that it said bear packs are in this area, packs of bears that would just roam around. And sure enough, every night the boys called it bear o'clock. And it was around 7 p.m. when it was just starting to get kind of dusk up in the mountains. Yeah. And you'd see packs of bears. We saw a mama bear and 3 baby cubs. It was so neat. And they would just...
It's cool as long as they stay away.
Well, yeah. We were pretty close to, even when we were, driving, I was a little unnerved by how close they were. But Mama Bear was trying to get into one of the bear-proof trash cans that they had because some idiot left it unlocked. And it was crazy. We watched her do it. She got up on her hind legs and took her paws and basically just banged the thing open and then was, in there getting food out for her and the cubs. But it was crazy. But it was really neat there. It was cooler there than it was here, apparently. And then,
oh my god, it was so hot in DC. It was 100 and something degrees.
Oh, yeah, no, because we were so high up in the mountains, it was only 80 degrees. It felt wonderful.
I think with the humidity, it was 110. It was awful. I mainly did photos inside if I could because it was just... I did one at 9 a.m. and I was like, this is horrible.
It was still nasty. Yeah, at 9 a.m. Here before we left, it was so stinking hot and muggy outside.
There was a heat advisory, ew. And then there was a tornado that happened.
Oh,
we had a tornado warning. It was an entire... It was, we had fun, but it was just crazy. It was eventful. And there were, knocked over trees. People's cars got hit by, trees.
Holy moly.
There were sirens that went off. And
oh, my gosh.
What is going on? And then people's phones were going off with the national emergency. There's a tornado.
Oh my god!
Warning.
Holy moly, that's crazy.
It was an adventure, and then I almost got attacked by a rat. A rat came at me.
Oh my god!
And then a cockroach went after me. The rat literally made eye contact with me and then ran at me really fast.
Oh, that's scary.
I was scared for my life.
Yeah, really, man. Those things carry all kinds of.
I screamed and I jumped back.
Yeah. Where was it at? Was it in an alley or was it by?
No, it was on the stairs. So we were walking past the museum and there were the stairs up into the museum and he was hanging out on top of the stairs, watching me, and he ran down the stairs at me and I was like, oh my god.
So did you guys get to go to any of the museums while you were
there?
No,
we were
that's a bummer.
Dying. We were just being fought by... Well, I went to the Apple Store, which inside of the Apple Store is a museum, so...
Wow, I did not know
Well,
that.
it was a fancy Apple Store. It's used to be the National Library.
Yeah.
But then, the back part of it is just the Apple Store, and then the top part is the actual, DC Center and, the library. Huh. It looks, insane for an Apple Store.
Really?
It looks really cool.
Huh.
It looks like I don't even know how to describe it, but you would not expect it to be an Apple store.
Really?
Like, it has that, like, architecture, like all the museums have, where they're, like, the white stone,
the columns,
and they have the pillars,
the marble,
and they have, like, marble staircases inside, and you just walk in. It was kind of funny, though, because they were doing, like, things for cosplayers. They were doing, like, little, like, shows for cosplayers.
Really?
Like, the Apple Store employees, they were, like, showing you how to get, like, the best photos with, like, an iPhone and stuff.
Neat.
I was like, okay. And they let us in there. They didn't care that we were in there taking photos. They were like,
probably because it was a way to let people, people see that going on, and then they want to come in and then they check out their stuff.
Well, yeah, and it was air conditioned, so that was like the main place I would take photos.
Oh, hey,
was in there.
even better. Yeah.
And the hotel. Yeah, they
that was
didn't
nice
care.
that they let you do that.
Come in. It did suck, though, because, like, at busier parts of the day, it was so hard to find a spot because there were so many people crammed in there.
Yeah.
Because the weather was so bad.
Right.
No one's going to take
trying to get the air.
Yeah, me and Belinda did a shoot in there. That was pretty cool. And then...
Yeah, cool.
It was just too hot to do anywhere else.
Yeah, I know. This weather has been crazy.
Oh, and there was another hotel that we would take photos in because it was like a Henley hotel.
Really?
It was like Victorian style inside.
You have to...
So there were some indoor options.
I'd like to see what the inside of a Victorian hotel looks like.
Yeah, it was very, like, pretty, and, like, it fit the theme for some of my,
ornate,
of, like, some of my cosplayers. So I was like, okay, we're gonna bring you, like, I had a Princess Daisy costume, and it worked really well.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
yeah, it kind of felt like a little bit of a castle vibes with the way, but it still had, like, that pretty Victorian kind of style. It was interesting.
Cool.
And then I did a few shoots outside, but it was only when the weather was, like, okay.
Or in the evening when it kind of cools off a little bit and you have a slight breeze, yeah.
Because then, like, the main hotel is, like, really pretty. It has, like, a bunch of marbles, so most people just take photos in there, too. So I had a few options for indoors.
Well, that's good.
So I wasn't dying of...
Although there'd be some really cool places to take pictures outside if it wasn't so stinking hot, like in front of the White House and all that. That'd be kind of cool.
There was a church right across from the main hotel that a lot of people like taking photos at. So I would...
was that the Catholic church, or was that there's like a giant Baptist church down there too, I believe.
Apparently it's now a theater center. Because it had new signs. Huh. Well, before it was really bad because a lot of homeless people would, like, stay there, and it was, like, the tent encampments. But it seems like they got a little bit more strict about them being there.
Yeah, they got it cleaned up.
Yeah.
Got it.
Like, this year, because last year it smelled like pee all the time.
Oh, gross.
And there was, like, dead animals everywhere. It was really gross.
What?
Yeah, I was like, ignore the dead rat. While I'm trying to take photos. It was a lot nicer. Taking photos at that convention is an experience.
That sounds like it. Dear Lord. All right.
And then I listened to keep me awake, I listened to a true crime documentary. I didn't know that there was a massacre that happened in Ohio, like, in 2016.
What?
Did you know about that?
No,
like,
I didn't.
8 people got murdered.
Where at?
In Pickerton, Kentucky, Ohio.
No, I didn't know that. Interesting.
Pickerton or something. I don't know, but I was watching it. I found a podcast about it. I was trying to keep myself awake.
Wait a minute. That's not the one that was about the family. Are you talking about the family?
There's 2 families that were involved.
Yeah.
Then one family, like, all the 8 people that died were from one family.
Yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, that was, like, big news. Dude, that was all over.
It was the biggest Ohio. It was the biggest, like, Ohio.
You didn't hear about that? That was all over the news.
No, I don't remember that at all.
Really?
But
it just came to trial, like, I think a couple months ago. They started having the trials.
In April, I think, is when because the podcast, obviously, they have newer episodes, too. It had some older episodes that I was, like, catching up with the case, and they're like, breaking news.
Yep. That case
where someone actually came forward and said, "Yep, we did it," or whatever.
It was like a crime family.
Guilty.
Yeah, they were like a crime family. They were, like, doing drugs and stuff, and it was insane.
It was weird because the one family, well, it was shady because the one family, there was a baby involved and there was a custody battle over the child, and then conveniently, they died or whatever.
Oh goodness.
And then they were trying to fight. Literally 6 days after those murders happened, they tried to file for custody of the child that survived. Which is messed up.
And that was just a huge fight, if I remember correctly. It was Wagner. Wagner was the name of the...
Yes, those are the people... No, so the Wagners were the one that allegedly...
It was the Rodin family. That's what you're talking about.
The Rodin family, yes. The Rodin family were the one that died,
right.
But then the allegedly Wagners were the one who did it.
Yep.
I don't remember if... I'm still actively listening to the thing.
Okay.
But then they moved to Alaska at one point, and they were like, tee-hee, we're gonna move to Alaska.
I don't remember
Yeah,
that.
it, like, goes deep. It's like a deep dive on that story and what happened.
Really?
So,
I might
and
have
then
to
at one
listen to
point
that.
during it, you should. It was really interesting.
Huh.
I was like,
wait, what was it
they,
called?
like, actually went there.
What's the name of the podcast?
It was like the Piketon Murders or something.
Okay, and what podcast was that on?
Piketon Massacre is what it's called.
Piketon Massacre. Okay.
I mean, it's just a podcast by iHeartRadio.
Okay.
But it's definitely pretty good.
All right.
And I'm still, like, actively listening to it. But, you know. And it has, like, good sound design. It kept me awake at the last point, because I was like, what is going on with this story? The beginning's a little slow, and you're like, it's hard to, like, because there's so many people involved, but then as you kind of connect it gets
a little easier
better.
to understand.
I'm on season 2 right now.
Cool.
I think there's 4 seasons of it.
Wow, holy moly, that's a lot of seasons.
I know.
Dang.
But yeah, that's something. I didn't know it was in Ohio. This happened in like 2016.
I know.
So
I can't believe you don't. I know. I can't believe you don't remember that.
I don't remember anything about
don't?
it. Well,
oh my god.
Anyways.
All right. Anyway, moving on. All right. So you went first last time, so I guess it's my turn to go first this time. Okay. All right. So I am doing mine. It's on the Greenbrier Ghost, and this was the first time that a ghost ever actually helped in their case. Like, she actually helped bring her murderer to light. So our story starts off with Zona Hester Shue. She was 23 years old in October of 1896 when she ran an errand to town, and she met a 37-year-old blacksmith named Erasmus Trout Shue. Now, he goes by the name of Trout, but he also had a different name that he would go by before he met her. So anyway, Trout Shue was said to be a big, powerful man. He had jet black hair, blue eyes, and was considered quite handsome by most of the women. He moved to the town that Zona lived in called Livesey's Mills, which was a small town outside of Lewisburg in West Virginia. He met Zona, and they had a whirlwind romance and eventually ended up getting married in October 20th of 1896 at the Seoul United Methodist Church. Now, Zona's mother, Mary Jane Hester, did not like Trout at all, and she did not know this, but Trout had some run-ins with the law before he met Zona and married her. There was some questionable things that happened with one of his wives. He had several wives, and we'll get into that in a minute. So anyway, so her mom did not like Trout at all, and she was not happy about them getting married. So what happened is they ended up eloping. So they ran off and got married and came back. So they ended up living in Livesey in a house which was a couple doors away from the blacksmith shop where Trout worked at. So for the first couple of months, or at least for the first 2 months, everything seemed fine with their marriage, everything was hunky-dory. That was until Zona fell ill and she was sick for a couple of weeks. But after a couple weeks, it appeared that she was starting to feel better. So on a cold Saturday, on January 22nd of 1897, Trout Shue went to Aunt Martha's house, which was a lady that lived in town that they called her Aunt Martha because she was really nice and she helped out everybody. And her son would run errands for different people in town. And he went there because he needed the son, Andrew, to do some chores around the house and run a few errands since Zona was still recovering from whatever her sickness was. Now, I've looked in several different places, and nobody knows what her illness was. They never explained what it was. So it wasn't until later in the afternoon that Trout was able to get Andy, the little boy, to come and run the errands for him. So Andy shows up to the house, and when he got there, he found a trail of blood on the floor leading to the kitchen. When he got into the kitchen at the bottom of the stairs, that's where he found the broken and lifeless body of Zona. So the boy runs home and goes to his mom, and she called the doctor. So doctor comes to the home, and when he gets there, he discovers that the husband had moved the body from being, it was down at the bottom of the steps. He had already moved her body into the bed. Okay, this gets really crazy.
That's weird.
And he had her fully clothed. So I guess at the time, it had changed her clothes. So at the time, she had different clothes on when she fell down the steps. But now she's laying upstairs in this bed. She has different clothes on. And he has this collar on her. I don't know if you remember from this time period, but a lot of the time, the women's, they would wear these like really stiff collars around their neck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he had one of those on her, which was really odd because that was like, at this time that was starting, not to be the type of, clothing that the ladies wore. And he also had a scarf tied around this collar thing. Okay. Almost like he was trying to hide something. So, the doctor started to examine her body. And when he does this, he notices that Trout starts kind of getting a little agitated or whatever, and he would get near her head or her neck, and he would start, acting all upset, and he would, start crying profusely. And the doctor thought it was very suspicious the way he was acting. So when Trout starts, crying and acting like he's so upset about his wife, the doctor decided he wasn't going to push the issue any further and try to look at her neck. Because like I said, he was like, over her neck, kind of holding her head and like, oh, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, there's these rumors running through town about that Zona might have given birth to an illegitimate child. Now, here's something interesting. When she died, after the doctor had examined her and all that, he listed as her reason for death as from giving childbirth, which was really bizarre because she had not given her mom was like, she was not pregnant. I would have known. She never gave birth to any child or anything like that. So,
that's weird.
Anyway, so there were these rumors running rampant that Zona had given birth to an illegitimate child. Now, Trout had been married twice before. And his first wife, he had a little girl with her, and he ended up totally leaving and abandoning them, like never talking to them ever again. Now, his second wife is more interesting. His second wife's name was Lucy, and she died under some really strange circumstances. Here's what happened to his second wife, which is just so crazy. So his second wife, Lucy, died when he claimed to have accidentally dropped a brick on her head while making repairs to the home. I'm like,
what? How do you accidentally drop a brick?
Thank you, on somebody's head. That's what I'm saying. I mean, this is just messed up, and how he got away with that, I have no idea. So, as I had said earlier, Zona's mom did not like Trout at all, okay? And now that her daughter is dead, she starts coming back to her from the grave and visiting her as a ghost and telling her that her husband had killed her. So, this happened 4 nights in a row, and at the first night when she first saw her, now, the mom claims that she was not sleeping when her daughter visited her. In fact, she said the first time she saw her, she was convinced that when they came back in their coffin. So she was like reaching out to feel if her daughter was still in the coffin when she came to visit her. So then the second, third, and fourth night, the daughter came back and started to explain more about what was going on with their marriage, about how Trout was kind of abusive to her, and then what really happened that night. So that after this happened, she starts telling people, hey, I've seen my daughter has visited me. She told me that, what happened was not an accident or was not the result of her heart giving out or whatever, that it was her husband that did it. What her daughter told her was that the day that she died, Zona had said that Trout was angry with her because she had not fed or fixed meat with his supper. He brutally attacked her. He smacked her in the head and then grabbed her neck and snapped it and then crushed her windpipe.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so he's pretty brutal. So after the 4th night, the mom wakes up and she decides, and she wakes up with this mission that she needs to let people know what really happened. So she heads to the prosecutor's office, a gentleman by the name of Mr. Preston, who agreed to make some inquiries into what, really happened to her daughter. So he spoke to the doctor, Dr. Knapp, who had admitted to him that he did not do a not so thorough examination of her and revealed that he had noticed bruising on her neck when he was looking at her.
Oh.
And the townspeople started telling him after he was going around and, talking to them, ask, how that is. They start investigating and they want to know what that person was like. Well, they started asking around about Trout, and everybody said that it was really strange that he had very odd behavior at the time of the wake. Now, when the wake happened, apparently the body was brought to her mom's house, okay? And, back then they would do open caskets and, everybody would walk into your house and they'd do a viewing that way instead of, like, taking to a church or something. Her body was, at her mom's house. And while the body was laid out there, when people would come to visit, nobody was allowed to get too close to the body. Trout would always be standing there. And especially if anybody tried to get close to her head. So, he wouldn't let her mom kiss her or anything like that. It was really bizarre. But they also said that they noticed when they looked at her in the coffin that he had placed a blanket or a pillow on one side of her head to make her head look like it was straight and not bent. So after this, yep, I know, right? Okay, come on, dude. You're failing terribly at covering it. Yeah, right? So after this, Preston, who I told you was like the prosecutor for their particular parish or wherever they lived, felt that he had enough evidence now to order an exhumation of Zona's body. Now, this is the 1800s. This was unheard of during this time. People usually didn't exhume a body like this.
Yeah.
Or during that time.
Unusual.
So, yeah, it is very unusual. So they went, and this is so bizarre. So, there was a group of them, and they even took Trout with them to exhume her body. And you could tell, they said he was getting very nervous and starting, to act weird and kind of cagey and stuff. So when they go to dig up the body, okay, the doctor Knapp performs an autopsy on her. And this time, sure enough, Zona's neck had been broken and her windpipe was crushed. So she had been strangled. Well, Trout was there with him and he got arrested on the spot for this. And his trial lasted 8 days and it took place in July of 1897. Now, compared to today's time, that's only less than she died in January and that's July. So that's 7 months later, maybe 6. In today's time, it takes years before you ever get to trial. It's amazing that back then they were able to get him to trial in less than, 7 months. Yeah, very fast.
That was very fast.
So, so they're going on and they're going through the trials. So on the 6th day, Trout decides he's going to take the stand on his own defense, okay? Well, as you can imagine, it didn't go very well for him. Well,
why do
I don't know why people do that. So it's so dumb. But anyway, so he's sitting up there and he starts he's just spatting off all this weird stuff and babbling. It doesn't make any sense. Everybody's just dude, Then he starts accusing everybody of being everybody's after me and blah 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 blah. So it didn't go very well for him, and the jury deliberated for an hour and then returned with the plea. Now, I want you to know that during the trial, Zola's mom, or Mary Sue, was actually brought onto as a witness, okay? And she told everybody what happened from from the stories that her daughter came and told her. So they used that as circumstantial evidence. It wasn't you know what I mean? It wasn't hardcore evidence that they could use, but it was used as testimony on behalf of Zona. Her mother did that for her. So, Trout was convicted on first-degree murder. Much of the testimony from Zona was which was based on her daughter's ghostly story, was from the grave, was what helped to push, and that also helped to push to exhume her, helped catch her killer. Today, Zona Hester Shue's ghost is generally recognized as the reason her husband was convicted. He was sentenced to life behind bars at, get this, the Moundsville prison, where he died 3 years later from the Spanish flu.
Yeah.
Now, me and you have been to the Moundsville prison. In fact, we did a whole episode on that. And that would be what?
It was right by there, right?
The West Virginia State Penitentiary. Yeah, that's where this all happened. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
And and he was one of the people that was there and died. Remember they talked about the Spanish flu and how it took out a bunch of people?
Yeah.
He was one of the ones that died from the Spanish flu. So, if you drive... Okay, so today, a historical marker sits along the, Route 60 and reminds all who travel the winding mountain road that the Greenbrier Ghost helped convict her own killer. By the way, this was the only time ever in the history of court systems and cases and that it ever happened that a ghost helped solve their own crime. Huh. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Some of the stuff I was reading about, and there was also, remember how I told you that she visited her mom for 4 days, Yeah. She actually told her mother a place to look in the house where they could find blood evidence that would help prosecute Trout for killing her. Like, she told her, like, a very specific spot in the house. Now, keep in mind, the mother had never been to her house where she lived with Trout. Because of where they lived, they were, like, on a giant mountain, so it took days back then to get over there. So she didn't visit very often, and she had not been to visit her daughter yet since she had been married. And she said that her daughter told exactly, and sure enough, when they went there was blood there in the spot that she said, which was crazy. And she knew the layout of the house in very great detail for somebody who had never seen it ever before. So that's how they were kind of convinced that she had been visited by her daughter's ghost. Yeah, to help confirm that what she was saying was really actually true. So yeah, I mean, I thought that was pretty crazy. Oh, and she's buried at the same church that her and her husband were married at. And her gravestone is still there. And people say that today, that sometimes if you go to this cemetery, it's still a cemetery that a lot of people go visit, that if you go there, that sometimes you can see her walking around near her grave.
It's pretty crazy.
So, yeah. So that's all I have for us today about the ghost that helped solve her own mystery and found the killer. So what do you have for us today?
Well, put your tinfoil hats on. We're going
Oh, no, not more alien stuff again.
Well, this is like a mix of cases. It's kind of like a missing 411-ish. But then we got aliens. We got Area 51.
Oh, boy. We got it all this time.
We got it all. And then it has to do with YouTube. It's like a YouTube conspiracy.
Really? Okay.
So it's pretty wild.
Let me settle in. Go ahead and tell us.
It's going to be a whole thing.
Okay.
So we're going to be talking about the Mcave and the disappearance of Kenny Veach, who is the one who brought attention to the Mcave. So Kenny Veach, so our story begins with a comment he posted on a YouTube video. Kenny was very interested in aliens, and he would frequent YouTube for videos about caves, aliens, and conspiracy theories, of course. He was a 47-year-old man living in Nevada. So this guy was old, and there was claims that he said he's been like hiking in the desert for like 20 years now, so this is like normal. And he makes a comment about at one point where he's like, whenever I see a cave, I obviously go in it. Obviously. Which you probably shouldn't just go in random caves you find.
I was going to say, right? Because you don't know.
Probably why
bears or tigers or mountain lions or whatever lives there.
Yeah. So the specific YouTube video titled Son of an Area 51 Technician, he left a comment on there that sparked this whole thing. So this is what he commented. He said, "That ain't nothing. I am a long-distance hiker. One time during one of my hikes out by Nellis Air Force Base," oh, this is also related to, like, military stuff. I found a hidden cave. The entrance to the cave was shaped like a perfect capital M. I always enter every cave I find, which is sus. But as I began to enter this particular cave, my whole body began to vibrate. The closer I got to the cave entrance, the worse the vibrating became. Suddenly, I became very scared and hightailed it out of there. That was one of the strangest things that ever happened to me. So he made that comment, and all, YouTube comment section ate that up, and they were like, a lot of people were like, "Oh, I don't think that actually happened to you," and some people were like, "Well, go prove, show evidence." And he was fighting with people in the YouTube comment section, which that never so he was like, "You know what? Fine, I will go back."
Oh no!
So he set off again to find the mysterious cave. He recorded another YouTube video, about it, his adventure to go try and find it. You can actually find this video. It is on YouTube today. It's about like a 20-minute video, 21-minute video where he's just kind of talking about how he's trying to find the cave. And then there's like, he's right next to an abandoned mine shaft. So he's just standing next to it, which is like kind of a little concerning, which actually comes up later about some stuff that happens. He posted the video, and then people were kind of upset because, he didn't actually find the cave again on the video. People were like bullying him, like, "Oh, you didn't find it.
Gatekeeping.
Oh, you didn't." And then the video didn't reveal any clues of this mysterious M cave, and there was one comment on the video that said, this is kind of forewarning what's about to happen. It says, "No, do not go back there. If you find the cave entrance, do not go in. If you do, you won't get out." So that's kind of ominous. So after being harassed by all these people, he's like, "I'm gonna go find it again." So on November 10th, 2014,
Oh, dear.
Kenny set off on his last hike.
Mm-hmm.
He notified his family he was going on an
no.
overnight trip, but he would never be heard from again. He was reported missing, so I believe it was from Las Vegas is where he was near that area that we're going to be going to.
Oh, okay, nice.
So the search for Kenny was on. So in that video I talked about where he was standing by an abandoned mine shaft,
right.
They were actually able to locate his phone there on November 22nd. Huh. This was like quite a time after he was initially went missing. So they did find some stuff from him. So they found his phone, and there was a lot of speculation on what happened. Like, did he fall down the mine shaft? We don't know.
Right.
Did the aliens get him? We don't know.
Or did he just want, go off and decide he wanted to, build a new life for himself? That could be too.
We don't know. So there was a lot of that. And then the case kind of went cold for a bit. They couldn't find anything. And, like, as you know, like, hiking through the desert, there could be, like, a bajillion places he could be in. And it's very, like, from his videos he posted of the spot, which a lot of people use that as reference to try and look. And they searched that area that he claimed that the cave was near for a while. There's actually, if you go on YouTube, there are so many people who are still to this day, like, trying to find this cave.
Huh.
So, in December 10th, 2014... someone comments on his video. She claims to be his girlfriend because there was a point where he talked about how he had a girlfriend.
Okay.
So allegedly this is his girlfriend. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But she claims that he actually went out there to commit suicide. That's what she thinks.
Okay.
This is all alleged. We don't know.
Right.
It's all from the YouTube comment section.
Oh, wow.
Like, there are reports about his missing, but,
Right. Huh.
So... why she thinks that he committed suicide was he was obviously having some issues, like mentally or whatever,
right,
and financially. But it was weird that he would tell people where he was going, and then he didn't take his camera with him, his video camera that he did the other video,
weird.
Which is weird. That's why she's trying to be like, I don't think like. I mean, if you were going to do that, you're not going to film yourself, I would hope. No, that's kind of disturbing.
Yeah.
And then people think he left his phone there so that to go do the deed. People want to be able to find his body easily or whatever.
Oh, okay. That's what you're saying.
So, that's speculation. And then obviously there's stuff that maybe he did find the cave again and something
happened to him.
Crazy happened. So then, 2 years ago, a YouTube video was posted claiming to find the Mcave. And it seems like the most credible out of...
Okay.
Like I said, there's a bunch of them. You can go find it. People, like, thinking they found it. But this video was posted by a channel that explores abandoned caves and mine shafts. Mm-hmm. And I guess he knows someone in the military that gave him a lead on a cave that he should go check out. Mm-hmm. That might be related to the Mcave, or they believe it might be it. So he goes to this cave, and this is on YouTube. You can just find this pretty easy. There's a lot of... It looks like there's words scratched into the cave.
Really?
It looks like it says hatch, as if there's like a door hatch.
Oh, okay. Huh.
And they find an Area 51 sign.
What?
Which this is like 3 hours away from Area 51.
That's weird.
And it's like it was like underneath some rebel, and it's like has the sign that says like Area 51, do not cross or you will be killed or whatever,
Really? Weird.
It's very strange. And then he finds like a bunch of other stuff. It looks like wood. And then he posts the second video like a year later, like as an update video.
Right.
And then he went back there, and there's a new sign posted that says "Danger Restricted Area," and there's some cameras set up at that area now.
Really?
After that video was posted, so we think because he found it, they posted up that stuff now.
Huh. Interesting.
Keepable from going there.
Right, to keep people away for whatever's going on in that cave. Maybe it's a
Whatever
portal to another
stuff.
world or something.
Well, people think it's a tunnel system to Area 51 or something.
From 3 hours away, that's a pretty long tunnel system.
Or they were testing something, or that's like an Area 51 testing site. We don't know. Yeah. But it looks like, so the cave that they did find, it looked like it was, like, people had put stuff in it. Like, they were trying to hide whatever was, like, it used to, like, go deeper, but they covered it up.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. But
we don't know if that really is the cave, but that is what people on the internet, it's so hard because there's so many people claiming.
Oh, yeah. So did it look like an M, by the way? Well, you said that you watched the video. Does it look like an M, or does it look like something else?
Kind of. Then I found like other videos of people finding M caves. It does it does have that M shape.
Okay. Huh.
And then there's other people found what it looked like someone had. I've watched so many of these weird conspiracy videos. There was one in it. They found another one that looked like it could have been M shape, but it looks like they just shoved rocks in it, and it looks like there's like a sealant like around the cracks of it.
Okay.
Like they had like it had been covered up. Like someone found it, and then they're like they don't want whatever's in there to come out or people to go in.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a very weird story.
Huh.
I will say that.
Yeah, that's strange. Interesting.
And I had never heard of it before. The
Neither
whole
have I.
Mcave thing.
Yeah.
People are still to this day, and like he just mysteriously disappeared a while ago.
Wow.
Almost like 9 years ago.
Yeah,
missing.
almost. Huh. And nothing. They've never found his body or bones or anything.
No, the only thing they found were his cell phone.
Huh. Well, what about? Did they check his cell phone though? Because it's 2014. They would have been able to check it. Did they like get any pings from any place else other than where he was by the mine shaft? Did he find a cave? I mean, they could have checked that.
I don't know if they can release that information if it's an active case.
That's true. Okay.
You know.
Yeah, interesting.
Because like he hasn't been found. You know, like cold cases.
No, I know.
How cold cases
that's
are.
interesting.
It was an interesting story I'd never heard of.
Yeah, I've never heard of the M cave. Now I gotta go look it up.
And now I'm like, what is in this cave?
Right? It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Could it be a portal? Could it be, are they hiding, UFO stuff?
It could be a military secret.
Maybe it's a whole alien colony underneath it.
That's what I'm saying. Is the cave connected to aliens?
Right.
I don't know.
Who knows? We'll never know until the evidence comes out or somebody, goes and investigates and finds out for us.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, maybe one day they'll find his body at least.
Maybe.
So we can have some closure.
Right.
It's kind of sad that like
his family can have closure at least,
Like, he seemed like a chill guy,
Yeah.
Probably a little silly for going to caves.
Yeah, but when you make a statement that, well, I'm never coming back or you won't see me again, that's kind of, I kind of...
No, that was a random person.
No, I thought you said that he said in his video that he left, that he said that you won't see me again. Or I'm not coming back. Didn't you say you said that?
No, someone commented on his video.
Okay.
They said, no, do not go back there. If you find the cave entrance, don't go in. If you do, you won't get out. That was a random person commented on his video.
But I thought you said that he actually said something in his video that he posted the second time. Remember when he was going back after everybody made fun of him or whatever?
He didn't post the second video. He only has the one video.
Oh, okay. Never mind. That's what I was
he just went back a second time, but he didn't bring his camera.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Okay.
Try and find it.
Right. Never mind.
Yeah.
Huh.
Still an interesting case.
Yeah. Hopefully, maybe we'll find out the mystery of the M cave. We'll add that to the mysterious and unknown things that are still out there and nobody knows.
Yeah, especially in Nevada.
Yeah.
Where the aliens are. It's the alien capital of the world.
Yes, it is.
Allegedly.
I don't know why, but yeah, all the aliens seem to like there for some weird reason.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Well, do you think maybe it's because it's similar to their homeland, with a dry, dusty area? Who knows?
I have no clue. Well, I think it's along the 32nd parallel.
Oh,
or
yeah.
whatever.
You
remember
said, yeah,
I
the parallels, yeah.
We did a whole thing. The 37th parallel.
Right. You said that's the one where the most activity happens.
It just overlaps with a lot of high strangeness.
Yep.
Anything else you got for today?
No, I think that's it. Oh, just, if you're interested, you can also listen to our podcast about the West Virginia State Penitentiary, where we actually went there and did a tour of it, so... Check that out.
Yeah, we had that weird experience.
Yeah, with the weird baby crying while we were there, and then
we heard a baby crying, and we had other people around us who also heard it,
and there was no baby nurse.
We were like, "What the heck?"
Yeah. And then
there was like a Halloween thing going on at the same time, but it was like way on the opposite side of where we were.
And I feel like, and we also had that strange experience down in the basement of that place. Remember?
Yeah.
The confinement place or whatever it was down there.
Yeah.
But anyway. So, nope, that's all I got this week. Is just, if you want, check out our other episode.
Oh, and did you see that that alien thing happened? The case finally went through the
what are you talking about?
Remember the case for that guy?
Yeah. I saw that the other day.
That finally happened.
People were talking about that on the internet.
It's related to what we were talking about.
So you can check that out too. Yeah, so check
more
that
alien stuff. The aliens are a hot topic, and apparently the U.S.
Yeah,
government
to
has
prove
bodies.
So, yeah,
We're gonna find them one day. I mean, they've literally come out and said, "Yeah,
So
sure."
interesting. Right, I know.
And no one
Apparently,
cares.
yeah, because that. Yeah,
I'm like,
it was
why
even
does
picked
no
up
one
by the
care?
national news, which is kind of weird. Like, I feel like that's what they wanted. They wanted it to not be picked. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Be on the
very
DL.
down low about it.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Anyways, aliens are probably out there. Don't go to the Mcave,
somewhere.
because you might not return.
Yeah, really. Stay away from that. Stay away from the desert in
Yeah,
general.
it's scary out there. Like rattlesnakes. They wear like snake pants. The guy was talking about.
I can understand that. I wouldn't want to get by a rattlesnake all alone out there. You'll die from the venom.
Well, all right. If you enjoyed our podcast today, follow us on Instagram at 2ScaredyCatsPodcast. And please be sure to leave a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It really helps the show get discovered. Tune in 2 weeks for a new episode. And to all our scaredy cats and kittens out there, remember, curiosity didn't kill these two scaredy cats.